Hello and welcome to the Review of Champions. If you were expecting a little speech first, well, it's not the first time this week you're not gonna get what you expected. It's time to talk about She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Episode 9. Whose show is this? With me is Mr. Taylor first. Hi, hello, man. How are you doing?
Hey, doing good.
Great to hear. Before we start, I would like to ask you all to hit that like and subscribe button and maybe join our forum on Sakar, sakar.freeforums.net. It's a nice little community full of nice fans. We would love it if you sign up and join the conversation. And if you want, you can be on the show as well. We're going to talk spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode, go check it out first and then come back to our video. Taylor, normally I ask a bunch of questions to all the panel members. Actually, I wrote down only one question this week, and I was going to ask to several people, but you're the only one. So, did you prefer the setup for the finale, or what we eventually got, the fourth wall break? What would you have preferred? That finale play out, or was it perfect the way it was?
Neither. The finale that they had started before the fourth wall break was obviously a monstrosity, and intentionally so, apparently. And then she did the fourth wall break, and I haven't heard anyone complain about the fourth wall break itself. That's consistent with She-Hulk, and everyone I think was actually waiting for that. So I haven't heard anyone complain about that. The problem was she went to Disney, she talked to the writers, she talked to Kevin, and she came back, and rather than giving us a better finale, wrapping it up without a big action scene, that would have been fine, but giving us closure to her story and the other storylines or something, they gave us absolutely nothing. They came back and the finale was over, and the cops were there, and Todd was in handcuffs, and Daredevil fell out of the sky for no reason whatsoever. So rather than giving us a better finale, they gave us no finale at all. It was just over.
Mm-hmm. So, how does this finale, if we can call it like that, fit into your whole view of the show? And is this an ending that the show deserves, or did we get what we deserve from the show? I'm Although I really liked the finale as it was, I thought it was brilliant. I know I'm not a comic book reader, as everybody knows, but I really enjoyed the fact that she broke out of the menu and went indeed to Marvel Studios, talked to D. Kevin, but yeah, overall, this show hasn't been that great to me, and this feels like it's a continuation of it. So it doesn't really, it fits, but yeah. What have we been watching?
I mean, exactly. I've been giving this show pretty good scores up until now, because I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. I thought they were leading up to something. I was wrong. I thought they hired professional writers for this. I was wrong. Okay, they hired morons to write this show, and they don't know how to write. The best part of the finale, though, I will say this: the best part of the finale was the opening scene where they recreated the opening of the Incredible Hulk series. That was good for me. However, that's bad for the show because it reminded the audience that once upon a time, talented professionals actually created a Hulk series that was good, as opposed to this monstrosity that they've just fed us. So even if they had just done a mediocre conclusion to the stories that they had created, the mediocre stories that they had created up until now, even if they had just done a mediocre closure to it, where, like I said, she breaks the fourth wall, she goes to Disney, she says, can we do it this way instead? Go back and give us a quality ending, better than, and again, I'll get into all this complaints about the Marvel formula nonsense. I'll get into that later. But if they had just given us a better ending, I'd have been, not super happy, but I'd have been satisfied enough that the show led up to something. But you know, what they gave us was just. I mean, what are we supposed to think about the rest of this show and how it fits into the MCU? Are we supposed to treat it as something completely outside now, like a Deadpool? Because I got news for you, Deadpool does that a lot better than this show did. You know, parody the universe a lot better than this show did of parodying the universe. I laughed during Deadpool. I haven't laughed at all during this show, to be quite honest with you. I've smiled a few times. So if their excuse is, oh, no, don't take it so seriously, it's a comedy. Well, to be a comedy, it needs to be funny, which this wasn't. So those are my opening thoughts.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, Loki's mom has joined us. So, Loki's mom, you have been listening in, but I'm going to ask you, I just told Taylor just before you joined us, I normally write down a lot of questions for the panel members, everybody a separate question, but I actually wrote down one, just for Taylor's answer. I'm curious to yours. Did you prefer what we got in the finale, the setup, and would you have liked to see that play out, or did you enjoy the fourth wall break and were you completely satisfied with that in this show's finale? And let me know your thoughts on the how this fit into the show and what the show meant to you so far, or up until now.
Yeah, I was really flummoxed by the whole finale. The first part of it, yeah, exactly what Taylor said about the opening little dream sequence that I guess she's having while she's lying in prison. It was really well done. I thought it was funny, clever, and it was an homage to the original TV series. I thought that was just well done. Then it kind of gets into where the aftermath. She makes a deal, yada yada. She has to, and we see her life just totally collapse, and all that was well done. I thought it was leading up. Okay, now we're going to get it now. And then she goes with she's going to go to Emil's. I did like when she's desperately or whatever keeps trying to contact Bruce, and we see on her iPhone, Smug Hulk is how she named him, and little things like that that they did have all throughout the series. I appreciated just little funny things they just pop in there. But then when it gets to, like you say, that fourth wall, then we get to the denouncement, as it were, of what's going on, what they were doing for this whole series, and as you say, breaks the fourth wall. She jumps through the TV screen, and then she swings around, comes into she's in Disney Studio property. So she's in our world at this point. She's totally in our world. And meets the writers and all that. And I just thought, at that point, I thought, And then we meet Kevin. And then we find out, here's the villain all along. It was Kevin. Which is, I forget what, it was knowledge enhancement. However they did it. Just to come up with, of course, it's a play on Kevin Feige's name, whatnot. That was just totally bizarro, because at that point they just went out and said it. They're trolling the trolls. That's what this whole series was about. That's why they kept rubbing so many of these things in people's faces with it, particularly the guys and the folks and whatnot we've all met on the internet that are just complete. You can't talk to them because this movie is great, and if you don't, or if this movie is bad, or if this movie is great, and you don't believe it the same way that I do, there's something wrong with you, and then then the fight ensues. That's the spoiler culture. That's all that stuff that we hate. That just this stuff that just keeps coming in, and just come on. We just want to watch this movie. Just leave your stuff out here. But they kept doing it on purpose. They just kept rubbing. Particularly when it finally got to that whole scene with Emil, and that's, I don't even know what that was. Emil, obviously he wasn't a part of the intelligentsia. He just happened to be hosting a seminar for him. I guess he needed to, we never saw his women anymore after that, so maybe they left him, and now he's got to pay for his retreat, so he has to sell himself out to these groups and whatnot. that I thought that was kind of, well, why are they doing that? Why are they just perverting this character and just ripping this? I didn't like what they did to Wong. I thought Wong was insulted. His character was insulted pretty bad. All through the whole or the episode he was in, the main episode he was in. And it was just stuff like that just kept, as Taylor was saying, there were just things that just kept coming out that, what are they doing with this? Where are they going? Where are they going? And likewise, I'm trying to say, well, I'm going to wait till the end. I really gave up a couple episodes of trying to figure out what this show was. But it was, and I will point this out, it was set up as a farce. Because if you think of how a farce, the literary genre goes, it is just this wild things keep coming in and out of the story, funny. And then there's a big mashup at the end where and sometimes it's a car chase, and we've seen this where they're all wind up piled up in a heap. And that's the end of the story. And if you remember, there's one movie that did exactly what She-Hulk did, and that was Blazing Saddles, which is a classic farce. Where at the end it's a big mashup, and then they wind up somehow from the Old West, they're back in Hollywood. And then it becomes self-referential. So that's where they landed with this show. It was very self-referential at that point. I'll give Marvel and Disney credit for going out on a limb and doing something so totally different. That was what they pointed out. Well, you want something different? We're going to give you something different.
Yeah, about that. But basically, that's what this whole show was. They took all the critique that you have online from people critiquing Marvel Studios. They actually put a line in it. I love that. I leave that up to the debate on the internet. Well, they took that debate on the internet, and then they said, okay, this critique. We're going to play with that. And now we are going to give you something different, and now you stop complaining.
Yeah.
No, the internet, it's the complete opposite.
How did that work out for them?
Yeah, exactly. So, but okay, let's take it to this meta level. In the end, they give us what we want because Marvel formula, this blah blah blah, and then it's totally not satisfying. So is that algorithm, the key VIN is talking about, is it actually the better choice? That writer's shouting out some things just need to happen in a superhero story. And basically, this whole show is about that. Are the Marvel formula against what does not work, basically, is what we see in the end.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll answer that for Taylor, if you let me go. Like I said, I didn't mind that it was a farce, that this is what they were doing, that they were doing a troll, as it were. It was just not well done. We didn't realize, maybe we shouldn't realize it until the finale, but we didn't really get what was going on until the very last episode. And in the meantime, we got hit with a lot of hell's a pop, and I don't know what it was. Madison. What was that? What was her purpose? I don't know what she added or what she detracted or what she was supposed to be trolling or anything like that. If it had been a much tighter done series and funnier, I thought it was, unlike Taylor, I thought it was very funny in parts, but it just wasn't consistently funny. It would just be like belly laughs or a good laugh every once in a while. While we're waiting to get to this final episode to find out what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Taylor, what are your thoughts on this subject?
I don't even know where to start. First of all, what is the Marvel formula? Werewolf by Night, Loki, WandaVision? Were those all following the same formula as Iron Man?
What they were saying, create a lot of plot and then a big hula at the end, and then everybody is satisfied.
Okay, so an action franchise with good writing and action in it is their formula, apparently. well, if the alternative is this thing, I'll take the formula, please. Okay. Formulas aren't necessarily bad. We wouldn't have the Krabby Patty without the secret formula. But I mean, my point is MCU is you know, is the least formulaic major franchise ever. All right. I mean, what is it, like Indiana Jones, who made the same movie 5 times? James Bond, who literally made the same movie over 20 times. They just changed the places and the name of the villain.
Look at Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. It's the same movie made 3 times, literally.
Exactly. I mean, what do you want? I mean, and again, so my point is that they're answering a complaint that is not a legitimate complaint. Marvel is not very formulaic, and if you want to say it is formulaic, at least it's good formulaic. It's good writing,
but
good stories, good action.
That is what they're saying. I mean, they say, hey, we know what we're doing. If we follow your critique, you get this abomination. And I can say this because he was in the show, so...
I'm not sure I'm buying that. Okay, I'm not accepting the, oh yeah, we meant to do that excuse. Yeah, we purposely wrote it really, really bad. I'm not sure I'm buying it. All right, I'm thinking they may have wanted to write something good, realized they couldn't, and decided, hey, let's go this direction instead, and then pretend, oh yeah, that's what we're doing all the time. But either way, even if that was their plan from the beginning, I'm not grasping their business model here, okay? Because they lost half their audience, and they've turned a bunch of podcasters who were big Marvel fans against them. You know, John Campea hated this show, and so did a bunch of other pro Marvel podcasters. So it was a dumb idea if that was in fact their idea from the beginning. I think the problem is that they hired. I don't know if Feige like lost a bet, or if he owed a big favor to somebody and he had to hire these people for some reason. But they had a bunch of writers who don't know what the heck they're doing. And then when she broke the fourth wall and went into the writer's room, the actual writers were there. But the people that spoke, the people that had lines, my understanding, this is what I've read on the internet, is the people that had lines were actors. So apparently their writers not only can't write lines, they can't read their own lines either. They have to hire actors to read their crappy lines that they can't write. All right. So I said, I don't know if I'm buying that this was the master plan from the beginning, but either way, if that was the master plan from the beginning, it's a big mistake. Because and when she went and talked to Kevin, okay, because I almost understood it. It's like, this is how Kevin wants it. So they're not saying this is how the audience wants it. This is how the trolls want it. They're saying this is how Kevin wants it. Well, Kevin has made every MCU product, whether it's the robot or the real guy, has made every MCU product. So are they saying every MCU product was like that monstrosity of an ending that they were making there with Todd and, you know, Titania barges in for no reason whatsoever? I mean, I don't remember anything that stupid ever happening in any other Marvel product. So if that was supposed to be the example of the way we usually do it, that's not how they usually do it. They usually are very smart in how they craft their stories in the MCU.
Well, you know, where for me, where I actually I was watching it, and I was sitting there, and the moment Titania burst through that wall and Bruce fell out of the sky, I was like, what the hell am I watching? And I actually agreed with Tatiana Maslany, Jennifer, or whatever, She-Hulk, at that point from, is this what you want? No, this is not what I want. I mean...
right. No one wanted that, so I'm not sure what...
I would have been fine if they gave Todd indeed the Hulk powers, and then Abomination and She-Hulk teamed up and to beat the crap out of Todd, and it would finish like that. I mean, that I could have lived with, and then I would call She-Hulk one of the lesser properties in the MCU, but still it came to a satisfying conclusion. But the fourth wall break on its own was brilliant, but it made the whole show that we've been watching a little bit pointless, at least to me.
No, I agree. And it was the fourth wall break was fine. Like I said, everyone was waiting for that to happen. And Loki's mom mentioned Blazing Saddles, and but the actual physical fourth wall break thing that she did here has been done in many times before. It's been done in like oh heck, the Monkees did it. Wayne's World. Let's roll back and do the Scooby Doo ending instead. Remember that from Wayne's World? Hell, Bugs Bunny and Popeye have done it in cartoons where they've broken out and talked to the artist and the writer and stuff like that. Walt Disney used to do it. Cartoon characters used to interact with live action Walt Disney sometimes. Remember? So that's all been done before, and that's all fine, and it's been done well before. And I liked when she came out of that. I'm like, I thought finally she's going to go and fix this freaking monstrosity, but she didn't fix it. She didn't do anything. She went back and it was over. We didn't get a thoughtful ending to her story. We got nothing. And then of course it wraps up at the end. Well, now if you're victimizing people, I'm coming for you. And she said, legally or by a She-Hulk, and both. Okay, well, I hope it's mostly a She-Hulk because the show has already shown she's a lousy lawyer. So she's probably going to lose most of the cases if she tries to do it through the courtroom. So, it just didn't satisfy anything. And again, if it's a farce, like I said, like Deadpool, we all know Deadpool's a farce. Everybody goes into it. It's a farce. Anything that happens there doesn't matter to the larger universe. But is that what we're supposed to take away now from this? Scar's not in the MCU. And by the way, Scar looked like Shrek. What the hell was that? But Scar's not really in the MCU. Jennifer Walters not really banging Daredevil. Wong didn't really break Abomination out of prison. Why is he breaking Abomination out of prison? No, but are we supposed to walk away and say none of that actually happened?
Yeah, but
She-Hulk doesn't really exist in the MCU. She's in an alternate universe. What are we supposed to do with this?
Also, different questions. I mean, she lost her job, she lost her apartment, she lost everything. Then, at a certain moment, she does the fourth wall break. She comes back as She-Hulk, breaking her parole, basically, and then everything's fine. She gets her job back, and what?
Right. Well, I don't think she would have been arrested in the first place. Revenge porn and hacking are illegal, and California has strong revenge porn laws. But she's a superhero. This is a universe that has the Hulk. Even before he was Smart Hulk, he was considered a hero. He was one of the Avengers. She was chasing guys who were wearing masks, who had obviously just hacked in and sabotaged this event. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I could see her getting charged with was destroying private property because she broke the screens. But is the lawyer organization that just awarded her Female Lawyer of the Year going to press charges against her? So even that was convenient.
Yeah. Lokismom.
Yeah, I mean, I think Taylor's pointing out how ham-handed it was done. Just clumsy in a lot of ways. If it was a farce, let us know in the beginning, or a little sooner than the very end of the show, that this is what we're doing here. Ha ha ha! Joke's on you. Yeah. So I think that was, like I said, they rubbed it. It was a good idea, but poorly done. I think taking a chance and doing something totally bizarro, totally different is okay. It's their property. It's their money. We don't have to watch it. We can turn it off. So, I've always supported creative license for the creator. It's not, and that's sort of what I think they were talking about with Kevin, which oh my gosh, just bear with me just a second here. I'll tell you exactly Kevin's name. It is Knowledge Enhanced Visual Interconnectivity Nexus. Now, there's an interesting word there, nexus. We've heard that word before, so that's a little something that just popped out there at me. What that means going forward, who knows with this, what we got for these past episodes. The ending we got is the ending Jen Walters wanted. Because she's sitting there telling, well, let's get rid of this. Okay, boom. Okay, let's change this part, and Kevin changes it, and then she goes back, and when she, winds up back, however she gets back, because they can't afford to show it, they don't have the money to pay for that part of it. Everything's resolved. You know, everything's back to the way she wants it. It's a happy ending. The next scene, she said, "Oh, she's back with her family, and she's, guess what? There's good-looking Matt, and he's joining the family, and they're already, you know, getting them married off and making wedding plans for him." And cutesy ootsy. I mean, it was. If this would have been, like you say, Jim Walters, a lawyer, and not a science fiction show, and it's just her, that would be a cute ending for whatever it was. But yeah, I don't know. It's just going to have to ruminate, and I think maybe going back in a couple weeks or a month or two, and just looking at the whole thing over again, just binge watching it. Maybe I can make a little bit more sense of it. I'm not going to just totally condemn it out, you know, because it kind of irked me or whatever. Yeah, I'll give it a second chance. I did give Love and Thunder a second chance, and I'm going to say that I still hate that movie more than I hate this particular TV show. So you can't please everybody. But yeah, I think Kevin is a algorithm. I guess that's what he's supposed to say. Well, who's writing this stuff? Well, a computer's writing it. People, what they're doing is they're pulling focus groups, and they're looking at people online, and they're looking at the fan sites, and what do the fans want, and what are they clamoring for? Well, let's give them that. Okay, if they want that, let's give them that. They want to see Abomination, let's give them that. I'm not sure if it was on your show, Grandmaster, or on Jeff's, but somebody said it was like they were pulling all these third-rate and fourth-rate Marvel characters, and just like and I called them at that point Marvel fodder. They're just wasting characters, just pulling them out and throwing them at the audience, and then we never see them again. So I mean, yeah, it was just too slapshotty, and you know, like I say, I'll give them points for taking the risk doing this and being in the fans' face. You know, why not do it? But it was just not well done.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually my point as well. I don't mind what they try to do. I can appreciate the meta level and how funny it is on that level, and I understand it. I spoke to that before on our review series, but at least nail the execution of it. And I think this whole show was, from the beginning, it didn't know what it was. It didn't quite get where it wanted to be, and the finale was testament to that. And I thought the whole show was, in the end, a disappointment. But we'll get to the ratings in a minute. Is there anything anyone wants to say about this finale or the show, or did we tear it down enough?
I mean, if the argument is they're giving the fans what they've been asking for, I don't know any fans that asked for this crap. You know, I don't know who they're talking about. Are they picking out like one freaking troll on the internet saying, "Fine, you want this? We'll spend however many billions of dollars they spent on this series and make a crappy show just to show that guy, teach that guy a lesson." Again, it doesn't make sense to me. Marvel is about, the most popular, the most successful thing in the world. They got nothing to apologize for, and they shouldn't be led around by internet complaints. I mean, you do that, you're going to be running in circles.
And I think that's the point they made. If we follow what the loud trolls on the internet are saying, you get this kind of I'm gonna make the same fun again. Abomination.
But did they forget that their real fans were watching this show too?
Yeah, 95% of the people that are a fan of Marvel were disappointed because they should have written a good show, or like Lokismom said, just make it clear from the beginning that this is what we're going to do. And
that's right. Have She-Hulk break the fourth wall in the first episode and tell us that this is what these people want and this is what we're going to give them. And then we could have laughed through the whole thing. Maybe. I mean, I still don't think the writers were very funny. I laughed more in the first episode of WandaVision than I did in this entire season of She-Hulk. So I don't think it's that.
WandaVision crossed my mind a bit because if you're talking about fourth wall break inside the MCU, they actually kind of did that in with Agatha being the director in the director's chair at a certain moment in WandaVision. So
and there was even one scene where they showed that they were on a set and they showed the seats where the live audience, studio audience sits. And at one point,
yeah. So
but they how it was handled in WandaVision, though. I mean, it was we didn't know a lot of stuff know how it was going, particularly in the first episodes when it was just all sitcom type stuff and referential to that. And but at a certain point, we did pick up on it that this is the world Wanda is creating, and that when Agatha's breaking the fourth wall, that's Agatha actually looking at the folks at on the other side of the hexagon, because she's able to somehow. So it's not that Agatha's looking at us, the audience. She's looking at the SHIELD people or whoever is monitoring that, what's going on inside that hexagon.
Yeah, and I must say, if they were attempting to be on WandaVision's level, they miserably failed. It's a colossal failure. Colossal.
If I could jump in. I didn't like WandaVision at first. When WandaVision, that episode, it was what's going on with this? And I actually quit watching it. I quit watching after about the third or fourth episode. And then after a while, after it had already gotten completed, all the episodes were up, at some point I went back and watched it again. And then I got it. And then I appreciated the whole thing. So yeah, I'm always willing to give something a second shot. And I'll give this show a second shot down the road. But yeah, right now I'm going to say this is the worst TV Marvel that they've started. You're not including the Netflix. I mean, there's some pretty stinkers out there, not beyond that. But as far as what they've done so far off with the MCU, it's just this is below What If.
We're gonna keep the whole Phase 4 discussion hits and misses for after we have reviewed Black Panther, because then Phase 4 has wrapped up, and then we can discuss about our likes and dislikes on Phase 4, and we can do a complete unpacking on a new podcast of Champions. But I don't want to get into that now. I do want to get into ratings, and I think it's fair if we rate the finale and the show separately. I first want to hear your number for the finale, and then I want to hear your number for the whole show. I'm going to start with you, Taylor. Finale, what would you rate it out of 10?
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Okay, and you've been fairly high in your ratings for the whole show. Well, this brings it down. Probably. So I want to hear how does this show rate in your book now?
Well, again, I have been fairly high in my ratings for the whole show because, I naively believed they were actually going somewhere and had an actual plan and had hired professional writers. I was wrong on all counts. So, just for context, the lowest I have ever rated anything in the entire MCU. Anything in the entire MCU, the lowest I've ever rated it is 8 out of 10. I'm giving this show 5 out of 10.
Well, that just shows, and I know Taylor for now quite a few years, and he's always a very positive, optimistic person, and he does not hate on stuff for reasons. He is fair in his judgment, and he knows his TV stuff. We know that he knows his movie stuff. For him to rate this a 5 out of 10, that says it all. Lokismom.
Well, I've already was on Jeff's shows over at the MCU Bleeding Edge last night, so I gave it a rating over there. For the episode itself, I'll give it marks for like I said for guts, but the execution really brings it back down. So I'll say 5 for the episode. For the entire series, I've already committed to a 6.5, and I'll stand by that because, like I said, I think there were some good things in it. One being Tatiana Maslany. She was wonderful, great all the way through it. I hate they bastardized her character, and herself, her own character with it. Hopefully there's redemption down the road. I think she said this, I think at one point she said something this season. So maybe there's going to be another She-Hulk down the road, and we'll see what's going to happen with that. So 6.5. Like I said, I don't hate it, but yeah.
Yeah, fair. Okay. I thought the finale was I'm having a hard time rating the finale, and I will tell you why. Because I really didn't like where it was going until that fourth wall break, which I thought was brilliant. But the ending, like Taylor said, was again quite disappointing. So I'm gonna rate that finale a 7 out of 10. Just because I really thought that fourth wall break was great, and I laughed until my pants dropped. Not literally, by the way. The whole show, yeah, I'm gonna go for a 5 out of 10. It just never really seemed to hit the mark, and the highlights were too little to compensate for a lot, and I just didn't like. And for me, I am a little bit more critical of some things in the MCU. I mean, I'm not a real big fan of the Iron Man movies. I'm not a real big fan of what we saw in animation. We haven't discussed Werewolf by Night. I'm not the biggest fan of that either. But it's on the lower side of things for me as well. It's not atrocious, but it's certainly not good. 5 out of 10.
Tatiana Maslany deserved so much better than this.
Absolutely, because that I want to say, I absolutely adore Tatiana Maslany in the show. She was the one thing that kept this whole show afloat. Not Daredevil, not all the other stuff. Tatiana Maslany and Tatiana Maslany alone. She was amazing, and I can't wait to see her more in the MCU and interacting with other characters. And I do hope they don't do the same thing anymore with her. Maybe a little nod here and there in a fourth wall break, but let's keep it down to nods. Please, Kevin, if you're listening with your algorithm, don't do that anymore. Once is enough. Taylor.
Yeah, question. If I'm not mistaken, the only live action show to get a season 2 so far is Loki, right? Do we think this show's going to get a season 2?
I actually have high hopes for Moon Knight, because they basically confirmed that in that little video with the showrunner and Oscar Isaac being in Cairo. I have high hopes for Miss Marvel, which I don't see going to the big screen besides being a sidekick or co-star. And and She-Hulk is actually deserving of a better season 2 and get some redemption. And
I agree. I hope it does get a season 2 and they do it better.
Yeah.
They go back and fix everything. It was like
just let her. Yeah, exactly. Just let her go nuts. Let her be She-Hulk. Let her freaking embrace it.
Yeah. Anyway, this will finish our review for episode 9 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Whose show is this? Before we finish, I would like to ask you all to hit the subscribe button and notification bell on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page. Join the forum on Cigar. That way you'll never miss us, and we won't have to miss you. Bye.
Bye.